Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today, it's a product that I bought during the Black Friday sales that we had here in the US. It is the NXTZEN ZNR Rinseless Wash. Now, if you're like me, you might have held off on doing this because of either shipping costs or because of the cost of the product, or because you could only order it through NXTZEN, basically, and you know, a lot of times it doesn't make sense to order it directly through the company because there's so many different companies out there. You wind up paying like shipping, a lot on shipping basically. So, but anyway, with the Black Friday special, I added, they had some pretty good discounts, and so I added this and a couple other items in the cart. And so let's see how this works. Okay, so again, NXTZEN ZNR, they're out of Australia. All right, now, it's a super concentrated 1 to 1,000 formula. What that means is 1 milliliter per liter, 10 ml per 10 liters, etc. And what does that mean for us here in the US? It means approximately 1 ounce for every 7.8 odd gallons, okay? I'm not going to measure out 7.8 gallons, so what I did is I just put half an ounce into 3.5 gallons. That gives me 1 ounce per 7 gallons, so it's a little bit more concentrated than the label would say, but well, that's what I decided to go with, and well, I'm the one making the video. So anyway, no hose needed. It's a rinseless wash. All right, multi-surface cleaner. Obviously, you can use it on paint, glass. On their website, they give you a bunch of things. I mean, you could use it on your plastic and in the interior and stuff like that. It's a rinseless wash. That's generally what they're going for. And it doesn't say that any protection is left behind, so I think we're good there. Now, the other thing, the last thing on here, it says dissolves road grime. So I think we're going to test that because, well, I got a lot of road grime on the car. In fact, let me show you what we're going to do and what we're working with, and we'll get going. All right, everyone, so hopefully you could see I got a nice salty car. So I'll just slowly pan over. All right, nice salty car. It snowed here all week, and honestly, we had freezing rain. They put a ton of stuff down. It's been like 15 degrees. So they put a ton of different stuff on the roads to keep people safe. But, so again, we're going to be working with, all right, the ZNR Rinseless from NXTZEN. And what I'm going to do, though, is because they made the claim, all right, right there at the bottom, dissolves road grime, all right, we're going to put that to the test. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to use on the front door here, we're going to use the ZNR straight up on the front door, like normal, like we would do a rinseless, all right? On the back door, though, on this side, we're going to just use the Preludio alkaline to pre-spray on the salty area. And then on the opposite side, we're going to do the front door with the Preludio and the back door with just the ZNR. And what I want to do is see if there's a difference in feel on the sponge, and if it really does remove or break down what I need it to, or maybe if, well, maybe we need a Preludio or something else. So let's test that dissolves road grime claim. So, and obviously we're going to be using our rinseless wash. I have it again diluted 1 to like, what is it, 780 or something like that. It's 1 ounce or half ounce per 3.5 gallons. I still have some in a bucket next to me that I'm sitting on. And then we just have our wash keg sprayer to do the car, and our Nemesis sponge. So anyway, and a little bit of warm water in here too, because while it's being 40 degrees and I'm not going to worry about it drying or freezing on the surface, it's still pretty darn cold. So anyway, let's get started with the pre-spray first. All right, so I did mention I was going to do the back door, so I'm going to do the pre-spray on that. In fact, let me get a little bit more. Wrong way. There we go. And on the bottom, and that's the thing, and these eye case sprayers really work well for this type of application. So we got the pre-spray with the Preludio there, and now on the driver's side door, I'm just going to use my detail, my wash keg spray. All right, and I'm going to pre-spray and I'm going to let that sit there. I'm not worried about any freezing. Like I said, it's like 40 degrees outside right now. I'm not going to worry about that freezing. So, well, I'm going to let this dwell. Let's do the roof of the car really quick. All right, so we're just going to spray the roof down. And you can see there's like salt all over the roof too. So we want to let this dwell for a minute. We'll even get a little bit of the window. We'll get the whole front glass. And even the back glass here, the back deck lid. Whatever's on the top of the car will hit. And even the hood. All right, I'm going to start on this side of the car and work my way back to the bucket. Obviously, if you're doing a normal wash, you're just going to bring the bucket with you. But because I have all the recording equipment and everything, it's just easier for me to do this. All right. Wow, this is actually pretty dirty, even on the roof. All right, so what I'm noticing is that while it is cleaning, or it appears to be cleaning, we're going to find that out in a minute. Well, actually, you could see it working, but this is not, at this dilution ratio, this does not feel super slick on the surface. And it honestly just feels average to me. You know, like you could see here, it's not sliding down the window. Some of the other rinseless products out there are super slick, and you would see that sponge almost start sliding down the glass. So I can say that while this may be a good cleaner, it is not extremely slick. So on the wash, the initial wash on the top of the car anyway, I'm not noticing really any difference. It just feels average. It cleaned it all up. It broke down all that salt. I had no problem with the sponge, but as far as slickness goes, there's a lot of other products to me that feel slicker with the sponge on the surface. And then again on the dry off, it really didn't really impress me. It just kind of felt average again. Some of the other products out there have a little bit of better towel feel. Obviously this one, there's a lot of other products actually, I will say that might feel a little bit grabbier with the towel. This, I didn't feel like I might have needed a drying aid, but there's a really fine line of, you know, needing a drying aid, not, and this one kind of felt like, if you're doing it on a coated car, you don't really need it, but I'd probably still use it just because I like that slick feeling surface. So a little bit better on average. I would say, yeah, now that I think about it, a little bit better than average as a dry off, but just average on the wash. So let's get down to the doors. All right, so we're back to our doors now. On the side that I use the Preludio on, it's actually drying up. You could see it's still a little bit wet, but you could tell it is drying up. So I'm just really going to quickly hit that again. I waited a little bit too long. And in fact, let me hit the bottom. All right, and then again on the other side, I'm just going to hit it with the rinseless really quick. And in fact, at this point now, I'm going to hit both doors from top to bottom, and I'm going to use my rinse method, because when I have a lot of salt on the car, I like to kind of rinse any of that grit that might have been kicked up that got stuck to the side of the car. I'm actually going to try and rinse it off. So let's do that right now. All right, guys, that leads me to another point about the ZNR here. All right, another point about this. This actually smells pretty good. Now, I can't pinpoint the actual smell, but it smells like bubble gum, and it's not super strong, but it's noticeable, and it's not like a super flavorful bubble gum. It kind of reminds me, in fact, this is more nostalgic than anything, but it kind of reminds me of when I was a child and you would get that penicillin, the bubble gum flavored penicillin. I absolutely love that stuff, and this is kind of nostalgic, you know, a nostalgic like smell for me anyway. So in any event, let's get going. Since I treated the back door first, we're gonna wash that one and then we'll get to the other side there. All right, so I had to do the windows. So we'll do the windows really quick. All right, and now the back door. Now this is actually slick enough going across the surface with the sponge. We see it is picking up the dirt, but a lot of that did get rinsed because you saw how much salt was on there. And a lot of that did get rinsed off with that step, with the Preludio and then the wash keg step there. In fact, that's as dirty as that sponge got with all the salt that was on there. And in fact, if I just flip this over and go over it again, now on a clean surface, this coating on the door actually feels fairly slick. There's no grabbiness with the sponge, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right, so now we'll hit the front door. Let's hit the mirror really quick. All right, so let's see how this feels. There's a little bit of a grabby feel. The sponge on this is definitely getting dirtier than what I saw on the back door. You could see that, and I'm not even done. The front door is a little bit bigger, but not by much, but there's a whole lot more dirt that you could see. So I'm gonna have to say, in fact, let me feel. If I come back across though, this does feel fairly slick. And let's see if there's any dirt. Yeah, I really don't see any extra dirt that got brought up by going over a second time, but there is definitely more dirt on the sponge I see on the front door. Now, that may have been because, you know, the front door gets more stuff on it. So when I get to the other side, I'll do that test and we'll just see really quick, you know, does the Preludio break down more? Does it spray more off? We'll check the sponge on the other side and see what's going on. So let me get this dried and we'll keep washing. Oh, and by the way, guys, I'll squeeze this out. All right, here, let me squeeze that out really good for you. All right, that dirt came off. Yeah, that dirt came off of there. There's the other side. This is just like water. In fact, water shows up as like dark areas on the sponge, but in fact, you could see like that. Shows up dark on the sponge. So anyway, yeah, let's just keep washing and let's check the other doors. All right, so on this side, we're just gonna pre-treat with the Rinseless on the passenger side door, or the driver's side door, I should say. And then on the driver's side, we are going to hit it with our Preludio alkaline. We'll pre-treat with that, and then we'll see what happens. All right, guys, so I've let this dwell for a hot minute. I have not let the Preludio side dry out like I did on the other side. So now we're just gonna give it our quick rinse, or rinse down, I should say. And then we will wash and see how this works. So that's just the NXTZEN side. And now the Preludio door. All right, we've rinsed off both doors. Now let's get to the wash. All right, so we can see just how much dirt was on here. Actually, this looks like about the amount that I had on the back door with the Preludio side to start with on the original, on the passenger side there. It's not really all that dirty, so maybe it is because there's just less amount on the back door, or maybe the rinse actually worked. Let's find out with the front door. All right, squeezed out the sponge. Let's get going on the... Make sure we get the whole door. And, well, actually, the Preludio side, this sponge is definitely cleaner on the front door on this side using the Preludio and rinsing than it was on the other side just using the NXTZEN and rinsing with that. So, and if I go across now a second time, let's see. And I really don't see that it picked up any extra dirt. So I will say that the Preludio definitely breaks down that road grime better than the NXTZEN. However, if I spray there we go. I'm getting that nice water behavior though from a it's not sheeting, it's not sitting there. So even with the NXTZEN, it was able to, I'm getting similar water behavior at the top as on the bottom there. So our surface looks really good there, and I think we're okay. It did a good enough job of breaking down that road film. Overall, I would say this does clean pretty good. Again, it's not the slickest. In fact, let me see. If I compare the Preludio side, the water behavior, to the other side, I'm seeing similar beading. I'm seeing similar like water behavior to both of these. So the NXTZEN, you know, with the sponge, it did clean. But it doesn't break down, you know. It worked okay on the road grime, let's put it that way. It worked okay on the road grime. We'll say that. I'm happy with it. It didn't stain the sponge. In fact, let me show you guys. All right, so there you go. It didn't stain the sponge. There's one side, there's the other side. No staining of the sponge going on, and you could see, look at how dirty the water is. Oh. Look at how dirty the water is. It's like gray. Now the other thing too is, this is like a non-foaming. I've washed the entire car. This is literally all the foam that's come up in the bucket. So if you hate foam, this is a good one to use. I mean, look, how many times have I just squeezed this out, and that's it. So that's a great, I guess, great testament to the chemistry. It doesn't foam, it cleans. It does a decent job at breaking this stuff down. So anyway, guys, there you have it. The NXTZEN ZNR waterless wash, or rinseless wash, 1000-to-1 formula. I'm going to actually give this one a thumbs up. It did do a good job on the salt. It didn't quite, I mean, it didn't work as good as a Preludio, obviously, so I'm not going to say like it broke down the road grime like the Preludio, but it did do a better job than a lot of others. Again, sponge feel, it was slick enough. I would put this maybe in my top 10 products, not in my top 5, but the value for the money, a ½ ounce per 3.5 gallons, or 3.8 gallons for a ½ ounce, is a phenomenal deal. And when you get a whole liter of it, it was pretty expensive by the liter, but when you're only using ½ ounce, this basically becomes almost like a ½ gallon of rinseless wash. So if you think about it like that, if you think about it as a dilution ratio, there you go. If you think about it as a dilution ratio, basically, 1 to 1,000, so ½ ounce per 3.5 gallons, you're basically getting, over a ½ gallon of normal rinseless in a 1 liter bottle. So if you break it down by cost that way, this is actually very economical, and I would have no problem at all, buying that again. To be honest with you, if it was available in my area normally and I needed a rinseless wash and there was no availability of others, that would be my go-to. If I was trying to conserve costs, that's definitely a go-to. So anyway, let's finish up here. All right, guys, so again, the NXTZEN ZNR rinseless, fantastic. Actually, you know what? This is fantastic value for the money because of the dilution ratio, 1,000-to-1. This is easily, basically a normal rinseless is like 1 to 256. So you're quadrupling the dilution ratio with this, almost quadrupling. So 1 ounce per almost 8 gallons. So if you really don't have a dirty car, I'd probably just do like ½ ounce per 4 gallons, just make it even, something like that, or like I did 1 ounce per, or ½ ounce per 3.5 gallons. But the dilution ratio on this is fantastic. So honestly, at 1 to 1,000, this is basically like a gallon jug of rinseless wash, if you think about it, like that, with the dilution ratio. So I can't be too hard on it because of that, because it's a fantastic value for the price. It wasn't, again, it's not the slickest product out there. It was average on the sponge. It did clean. It rinsed off in the bucket, no problem. The sponge is not stained with the salt, any of the road film, anything like that. Didn't clean as good as the Preludio does. It did, well, I can't say it dissolved the road grime, because even after the rinse, there was still more left over for me to take off with the sponge. But overall, the car is clean, and I'm really happy. And I'll be definitely using this again. In fact, I have another vehicle to go do here, so we'll be hitting with this because I still have some left in the bucket. So anyway, guys, the NXTZEN ZNR from, well, it's actually from NXTZEN ZNR. So we'll see you. You have a great day. Talk to you. Bye.